And our third board in the cheap boards you're going to find on Facebook Marketplace or wherever category is, and this is the one you're going to probably find the most of. It's the Lifetime Freestyle XL. And it's stable. Best thing I can say about it. Unfortunately, it has issues. It was obviously Lifetime's first crack at making a paddleboard, and they knew kayaks. They did okay. It's a fun board for kids. It's not too heavy. I just reviewed a Vaser, or whatever the other one was called, but yeah, the Vaser kayak, and that thing, 56 pounds. You're gonna find this one's much lighter. It's stable. It's wet. It's one thing. I am close to 200 pounds, and the maximum on this is 230. And I think if you were at 230, your feet are gonna be in the water, because at 200, there's water coming over the deck when I'm working. Now, if you're lighter than that, if you've got kids have no problem with this. I had 2-3 kids standing on this trying to sink it, and they couldn't. It will float. You have the same thing. You got a channel down here through the middle. This is your carrying thing. Now, they actually put ribs on that, and they actually work fairly well, which is good because there's no handles. You got these weird detents, which I guess allow you to squeeze it like that. The only time that's really useful is when you're like holding it on top of your head, balancing it, and you have a place to put your hands. That's about it. I think, we'll check that. The deck pad it has is nice. It's nice and foam cushioning. If it didn't have it, it would be slippery. So it's nice that it has it. You could always stick one on. It's smooth plastic. It's got anchor points for leashes. Now it's interesting they put 2. You could also tie coolers to that. It's got a drain right here, which is almost useless because notice, in order to get water out of this whole part, you're not going to really be able to drain unless you're tipping at some really odd angles. I don't know why they put it there, but they did. We'll get to that in a minute. That hole is for water to drain through from this channel, and you'll find if you're at my weight, this channel is full of water the whole time. As I said, it's a wet board. Water's just constantly sweeping over it. It's okay. This has bungees for lashing stuff. Always nice to look for on a paddleboard, because you don't know where to anchor stuff. These has these nice anchors. You probably could I would probably upgrade the bungees if it was like a board that I was really going to use a lot. Another drain. Notice how far that drain is from the tip of the kayak. Useless, which is why they come with a hole right here in the bow with some sort of cheap plastic cap that the first time I touched it fell inside the board. So I did find this normal boat drain plug type thing to put in there to keep water from sweeping in when the kids were playing, because it takes forever for it to drain back out. It's a small hole, but that actually is the best spot for the drain to be. I don't know why Lifetime put them there and then way down there where it's entirely useless. Bottom of the boat, well, next thing to look at, actually, we'll get to the stern here. Now it does have a rocker shape. Notice how the tails sweep up out of the water, which is kind of cool, and I think they did it to look cool because, of course, the cool surfboards have that fish tail shape there, like a mermaid's tail or something. But that slows you down. They really just should have made a rounded stern, like the all-around yoga, whatever type paddleboard, not the squared-off racing ones. And that would get rid of a lot of drag, and it would give it a little more buoyancy. I think they did it for stability, maybe to make it shorter because they had a certain mold size they had to fit inside for when they're blow molding these. Whatever, I don't know what it is. Next thing, these channels, same thing. Wicked amounts of drag, especially with those round bubble things into them. That's just setting up an eddy, a constant drag on the forward progress of the boat. Besides the channels. Channels would probably be okay. There's some ribs to it. Notice the edges. That one has sort of a dent. It's always been there. Hasn't hurt anything. But all of these create drag. They slow the boat down. They really should have done something better. The bow shape is a good shape. I've never really like complained about it. It's just not fast. Once again, and this is one that you could even car top without too much trouble. Okay, now we get to what in the world did you do there? What I did here, these boards came with these ridiculous fins that go into this odd shaped socket, which is tapered. It's fatter on the bottom, skinnier on the top. So of course, there's some sort of retainer. There was like a big nut that's screwed on, big plastic nut that's screwed onto the top of the fin, and the fin extended downward, sort of like this. And everybody loses them because they take them off, they store them somewhere, the kids break them off, they fall in the water, they disappear, they don't float. And now you have a board that goes sideways, goes around in circles, doesn't go forward, very annoying, and you sell it for really cheap, which is when someone like me buys them. And if you ever see my sawfish kayaks, I use plastic cutting boards. Used to get them from Harbor Freight. They don't sell them at Harbor Freight anymore, jerks. And I came up with, I copied literally the design, came on another paddleboard I have, and these are the fins. Now I've actually come up with a better idea. If you're following, I have a series on those on YouTube as well. And I'm actually really at this point, I'm giving away the pattern for a better fin that helps it track better. And really I found just one offside, it goes straight. Two would be better, probably, maybe, I don't know. But really it only needed one. If you look at the new paddle boards, they actually make this Freestyle XL still, or they did until recently. I don't know if they stopped yet. Go look at Dick's, maybe they still sell them. But they got rid of this stupid design, and they didn't go with a USA fin, or the USA box and the normal fin. But now they have them that they fold into the hull and come out, so now you can't lose them. So it works, and it's a much better design. And their latest design, I haven't found one yet that's cheap enough on Facebook Marketplace to buy, but I'm watching. I'll do a video on it. They actually have a normal shape to the board. I'm not sure what they got for stiffener holes like that to support the top deck, but it also has a rounded stern, and it has one central fin that does hit into the board, which actually I think is kind of a cool idea. So you don't get them broken off, damaged, whatever. You run it up on rocks, I think it folds in. And I think those boards are closer to what you really want. But for kids, for something to keep at the beach house or at the lake, or even take out on the ocean if you're, this is perfect. And actually I am somebody that, I'm a kayaker, that's where I started. And I'm somebody, I really don't care what people think. So one of the things I have discovered is this deck is perfect to put a sand chair. Now it's one of those lawn chairs with the short legs you use at the beach, because if you had a tall chair it would fall over in the sand. So your butt's just like an inch or two off the board, and the feet sit right on the board, and you paddle like a kayak. You take a double kayak paddle, and it's just like if you ever paddled like a yak board, surf kayak, something like that, or a squirt boat, something for whitewater. They're very short, they don't carry very well, they don't glide very well is what I mean. Once you stop paddling, they slow right down and stop. This board's pretty much the same thing. You can do it okay if you're an okay paddler. It will go straight enough that you're not going to be frustrated, but if you got an all-day trip to go somewhere, plus your luggage strapped onto the board, this is not the thing to have. But for a toy, excellent. It's good for kids to learn on. It's nice and stable. It's a perfect diving platform. My kids love to jump off of these. They've practiced flipping them over in the water in case they do get turned over. They play games where they try and tip each other off of them. It's great for that. Like I said, make sure that bow hole is plugged so you're not letting water in. That's basically the way that drains your deck right there. And you can see this is supposed to be the retainer for the nut that went inside of this well that's screwed on literally to the top of that. And it works, because Lifetime is really good about replacement parts, but since they no longer make this, they've now given away the stock that they had, and they just don't have anymore, and they'll tell you that. So here we go, and let's go find out the weight. Okay, so we got 44.2, which isn't the worst, it's not the best. Now, I mentioned before the carrying handle. This is actually a good carrying handle because of the ribs that are in there. These, as I said, useless unless you're carrying on top of your head. These boards come in different colors. I love the orange. I also have a greenish yellow, and I've seen them in a red. They even come in blue if you can find it. I like bright colors. Remember, on the water, you look like someone lying in a parking lot to someone in a motorboat. You want bright colors so you show up. If you watch me get on, then you'll be able to see the stability really high. As you can see about the water coming over the deck, yeah, it goes, but it doesn't go crazy fast. It's definitely got some drag.